Okay, everybody, when you're ready, come on over to your yoga mat. Settle on in. We'll start laying down today. So go ahead and grab any extra comfort items, maybe a pillow or blanket underneath your head or a little something underneath your knees. You could start in Shavasana here with your arms and legs outstretched. If it feels better to you, maybe you bend your knees and stand your feet up near the edges of your mat. Tuck your tailbone under and then let your knees rest together at the center. This is called constructive rest. Let your arms and legs find their way, taking as many detours as you'd like, little stretches or settling movements. Maybe a yawn. And once you feel about as comfortable as you can, try to just be here and notice your experience for a few rounds of breath. Noticing any areas of tension, of gripping or holding. And notice any areas of expansion, freedom, etc. And you might notice some areas that are more or less neutral or offline. And we're not judging any of these. We're just taking stock, seeing how things are. And noticing what arises not just in the body, but in your mind, in your spirit, or your energies, or anything bubbling up on the surface of your experience today. And relaxing your face, your jaw. Super important for us to practice our proper oral posture, as it's called. So if you like say the word N, wherever your tongue is like hitting right behind the front row of your teeth, N, just rest your tongue there. You want like the first third of your tongue making contact with the roof of your mouth if you can. And then make sure your teeth are gently parted. So we're not clenched up. We've got a little space between the biting surfaces of your teeth. And of course, making sure that your nasal passageways are clear enough to breathe just through your nose now. You might even sense or imagine that your nasal passageways are getting wider and clearer with each breath. Softening your jaw. See if you can maintain this proper oral posture, tongue on the roof of the mouth, lips sealed, teeth parted. See if you can maintain that for like 5 or so breaths. Drawing the air down to the deepest parts of your lungs, letting the belly expand with the inhales. No need to be a perfectionist. Let it flow. And if you'd like to set a dedication or intention for your practice today, feel free to bring something or someone to mind. Could be something you'd like to focus on, or a person who needs a little extra love sent their way. Committing this intention to heart. Seeing if you can kind of keep it near the top of your mind throughout our practice today, just holding it near and dear, moving in such a way that honors that intention, whatever it is for you. And let's take 3 clearing breaths to collectively uplift our intentions and each other's intentions. So taking a big breath in through your nose, big sigh out of your mouth whenever you're ready. 2 more just like that. And then returning to a steady pace of breath, a natural pace of breath, and begin moving or wiggling fingers and toes as you start to awaken the physical body. Maybe moving into some circles with the ankles and wrists. You could let your head rock from side to side as you make your way to a long body stretch. Reaching arms and legs in opposite directions, maybe continuing some of that intuitive movement or circling of joints. And then we'll get ready for our banana pose. I like to take out any props from underneath me for that, but you do you. So we will walk the heels over toward the right edge of the mat. Notice that left hip. And then grab hold of your left arm or wrist and give it a gentle pull over toward the right. So you're making that side bend banana shape, opening through the left side. So instead of thinking of crunching over as far as you can in your side bend, think about lengthening the space, especially from your left hip all the way up the armpit, the side, all the way up through that left pinky. Little side bend, lots of length. Take a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, switching sides, walking your heels over toward that left edge, grabbing hold of your right arm or wrist and pulling gently toward the left side. Again, lengthening here, more than side bending. Breathing into that right lung. And go ahead and come back to the center. Let's release the arms and bring them down by our sides. We'll go through our bridge pose a couple of times. So standing your feet up on the floor. If you have a block or a pillow close by, make sure it's like within an arm's reach distance apart here. So press the hands down, the elbows down, tuck the shoulders together, shoulder blades together behind you, pressing down through the arms and the feet first. Then with an inhale, lifting the hip points up toward the sky. You can hold here for a couple of breaths as you get used to bridge, maybe tucking your chin toward your chest slightly. Try not to look side to side. Keep your neck just aligned here. Take one more big breath in, and then exhale as you lower all the way down. When you get to that bottom resting position, take a moment to notice the curve in your spine. For some people, you might be able to even like slip a hand underneath your low back or your mid back. So just noticing that gap there. Let's tuck the tailbone under, squashing that gap. So your low back is firmly pressing into the mat. Now let's take our bridge pose. Inhale, rise up. Keep that engagement there. And tucking your chin slightly. Take a big breath in. Option to lift your heels and come up to the tippy toes. One more breath in on the tippy toes. Lower your heels. Inhale, option to lift the toes and just get up on the heels now. A little stretch through the calves. One more breath in. And out, lowering down. Let's hug the knees in toward the chest. Take a little bit of free movement here, rocking some weight around the low back. Such a common area to need work, I find. So giving it a little bit of a rock or a circling of your knees can just help keep things moving there. Lots of nerves and blood vessels that go through around that area. All right, then placing your feet back on the floor, we'll grab that block or pillow. Go ahead and lift your hips just enough to slide that block under the sacrum, probably at the lowest setting here to start. You can adjust that block anytime. And pressing your hands into the floor, maybe out to the sides or down low, your choice. Start to press your right foot down as you start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that left leg up toward the sky. Take a look at your left toes, give them all a wiggle. See if you can really move all of them here. Cool, cool. If you were here, you would hear my toes cracking. All right, circling your left ankle a couple of times, watching if you can see any of those tendons or ligaments moving. It's kind of cool. And then go ahead and lower your left leg down, keeping it straight. Take your time and pay extra special attention to your left hip flexors, that left front side of your left hip. This might be enough of an opening here for that left hip. If it's a little too much, start to bend your left knee and just work with a place that does feel like you're stretching, but not beyond like 70%. And you might point your toes and flex your toes a couple of times and just see if that has any interaction for you with what you're feeling in that left hip. And then we'll bend that left knee, planting it firmly on the mat, pressing into the bottom of your left foot. Start to lift and straighten or almost straighten your right leg up, wiggling all of your toes, seeing if you can get them all moving today. And then circling your right ankle a couple of times, looking for any physical signs of movement there, especially like the smaller ones, the tendons and ligaments. And when you're ready, lowering your right leg down, keeping it straight and noticing what feels good here for the right hip flexors, possibly resting your heel on the ground. You could come up on a block with that heel or just bend your right knee a little bit until you find the sweet spot for you today. Make sure your block is placed somewhere or blocks placed somewhere where you feel like you can be fully supported. And then try to let go of any holding here. So we're getting a nice passive opening stretch there. Your choice now, you could try to straighten both legs. Make sure it's feeling safe and good for you. I always have to move the block a little bit when I straighten both legs. So just make sure you're feeling supported as you go. And maybe reaching your arms overhead or interlacing your fingers and resting your head in your hands. Maybe pointing and flexing through the ankles and toes a couple of times, seeing what feels interesting there. Ooh, a little rocking side to side of the feet. I'm discovering feels really, really good to me today. Good. And when you're ready, we'll bend both knees, press on up just enough to slide that block out from underneath you. And once again, land with the low back and pull your knees in toward your chest a little bit, circling or rocking weight now over that spot that the block was just below. Okay. We're gonna meet up in a seat next, so feel free to rock and roll a couple of times up and down, or slowly turn onto either side to the fetal position and then press your way up using the help of your hands. Maybe sitting cross-legged if that feels comfortable. I like to sit up on blocks. You could pop up to a chair if you have one close by, or any other, anything else that can just make it a little more appealing. With an inhale, let's reach both hands around and up, kind of in slow motion. Look at your hands as they join overhead, and then exhale to bring your hands down to heart center with a little tuck of your chin. Push your chin back in space. So you're kind of creating like this double chin scenario. This is really good for our neck, especially as we look down a lot at our phones and computers. So we're just pushing the neck back, and then pop the neck out forward like you're a little turtle. So the neck pops out, or the chin pops out, and then the chin pushes back. Sometimes it helps to just like hold your chin as you go. So we're just pushing the chin out and sliding it back, seeing how that goes for you. Kind of looks weird, but it's really good for our necks. And then find kind of a neutral right in the middle. Feel your hands pressing together at heart center, thumbs pressing into the sternum there. Maybe close your eyes as you recall your intention. Feeling your heartbeat. Inhale, raise both hands high. And exhale, lower the arms down. Let's do that again a little quicker. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, hands lower to heart center, tucking the chin, retracting. Inhale, hands go high, and exhale, lower. We're going to take a active twist this time. So inhale, lift high. Exhale, cactus or goalpost the arms and twist to the right. Inhale, come back to center, goalpost arms. And exhale, little twist to the left. Let's do that again. Inhale to the center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, center. And exhale, twist to the left. Come back to the center now. Let's switch the cross of the legs. So whichever leg is in back now comes in front, if that's how your legs are oriented. Inhale, reaching high again. This time, let's try an open arm twist toward the right. So the arms reach wide as you twist. Inhale, come up back to center. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. One more time on both sides. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. One last time, rising up to center, and exhale to lower your arms down. Take a moment just to notice how your shoulders are feeling, maybe giving them a little tap. And then moving on to hands and knees for cat and cow. Hands can be more or less beneath the shoulders, knees, hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips. With your inhale, finding cow pose, lowering your belly, lifting your gaze and your tailbone, pressing the floor away so your shoulders are active. And exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone. Again, pushing into the floor with your hands. So you're kind of getting a reaching sensation through the shoulders. Inhale, cow. Keep flowing now with your breath. Exhales bring you to cat. Keep flowing and feel free to tack on any other organic movements that just feel right. Maybe a little twist or turn through the shoulders or the hips. Maybe a couple of clearing breaths or something else entirely. You are more than welcome to add or subtract anything that you'd like anytime through these classes. And option to pause in cat pose with your spine rounding up, and then just kind of wiggle your head out, seeing if you can give some space to your neck. We'll meet up in extended child's pose next, with the knees out wide toward the edges of your mat and big toes touching behind you. Slowly sinking your seat toward your heels. pausing anywhere if your knees are not liking that and coming back up and just working within your range of motion here. You could do a little bit of rocking. You could come down to your forearms to rest or walk your hands out toward the top of your mat and then let your head and heart sink low. Some nice belly breaths here, letting the belly expand and take up space with each breath in. And each breath out. Feel free to stay right here or join me in adding on a thread the needle moment here through the upper body. If you're with me on that, let's plant that left hand down somewhere in front of you here and then thread that right arm down and through, setting your right shoulder inside of your head on the floor or on props. Place your left hand somewhere supportive for you, maybe out wide or up near the top of your mat. You can also float that arm overhead or take a bind. See if you can slightly lean into that right shoulder and see if you feel just a nice amount of stretch. Breathing there. And then we'll switch sides, planting that left hand down. Press your way up and reach the right arm high. Set your right hand down, and then we'll thread the left arm down and through. Find that supportive place for the right hand this time. Slightly leaning back into that left shoulder until you feel a good stretch. And a good rule of thumb is to kind of aim for like that 50 to 70% mark. So we're not, sometimes when we push beyond that, we can actually kind of trigger the body to protect itself and tighten up. And that's pretty counterproductive to our goals, I think. So we're taking it easy. Right hand plants down, left arm reaches high when you're ready. And then bring that hand back down. Let's find our way to extend or to downward dog next. If you're using blocks, bringing those up to the top of your mat and curling your toes under, lifting the knees, reaching your tailbone high. First things first, find your breath. Commit to the flowing nature of your breath and maybe pedal out your legs, bending and straightening opposite knees or both together. One more breath here. And with an inhale, bend your knees a lot, look up toward your hands, step or walk to the top of your mat. Ragdoll forward fold. You can either keep your feet close where they're at, or you can take a wide-legged forward fold, giving the belly a little more space to be as it is. Letting your upper body be kind of loose here. You could sway, you could just hold steady. Whatever you do, make sure that breathing is still happening, still a big part. And maybe nod your head yes, or shake your head no. We'll be heading up to standing. Take your sweet time, bending your knees, maybe walking your hands up your legs. Just nice and slow, making it to the top. If you tend to get dizzy, just keep your chin tucked as you take some breaths. And at the top, we'll get a little bit of a shake or a bounce going, possibly starting with some heel drops, lifting and then lowering your heels. Just enough so you feel kind of the tissues of your body, almost like they're loosening up from the bone. That's like the picture I get. And And swinging your arms if you'd like, or adding in any other kinds of shaking or movement here that makes you feel like your blood is flowing. We're getting things going here. We're feeling alive. Maybe a couple little jumps if that feels safe to your body. All right, then we'll head up to the top of our mats. Take a look at your feet. Give your toes a little wiggle. And set your toes back down. Slight bend of your knees. Put your hands on your hips here, your hip bones, and just kind of get a sense of your pelvis. We want to try to find a neutral pelvis. So like for me, I tend to, my pelvis tends to tip forward, kind of like that cow pose position. So for me, it means tucking my tailbone under, kind of holding my low belly a little tighter. But for you, it might be opposite. So just kind of do your best here. You might go a little too much in both directions and then find the middle. And then we'll flip the palms to face the front of the space, mountain pose. With an inhale, lifting your shoulders up toward your ears. Then exhale, circle them back and down, almost like you're tucking them into the back pockets. Let's do it again. Inhale, shoulders reaching forward and up. And exhale, lower back and down. Go ahead and do that a couple more times. And notice your rib cage here. We'll hold the abdominals in place. But there's little to no movement through the arching of your back as you go. Then when you've had enough, we'll find stillness with the shoulder blades hugging together, all tucked in. Inhale, reaching high, hands join overhead, upward salute. And exhale, forward fold. Bending your knees slightly at the bottom. Inhale, halfway lift, sliding your hands up your legs. And exhale, bring your hands down to the floor or blocks. Let's step just the right foot back and lower your right knee down to the mat. Starting to sink your hips forward and down to a spot where you still feel your muscles engaged. So we don't want to like dump into this position. We want to keep a little bit of engagement here and notice the left hip flexor again. We were already working with that a little bit earlier. I like to have my hands up on blocks here, kind of puffing the chest up, keeping my upper back from rounding too much. And then half splits will be next. So we pull the hips back, straighten that left leg just enough until you feel stretch happening through the back side of your left leg. You're welcome to stay right here or find a flow with it. Maybe inhaling as you come forward, planting that left foot down, puffing up the chest. Maybe your exhales bring you back to half splits. And next time that left foot is planted, let's rise up, hands reaching high. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. Right arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back. Relax your shoulders when you arrive. Inhale, come back to center, unwind. Exhale, open arm twist to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, lower your hands down to the floor or blocks. And step your left knee back to meet your right, more or less in tabletop. Take a breath in. And then exhale, lower your chest all the way down. Come into the belly. Untuck your toes, press your feet down so much that your knees maybe even start lifting slightly. Shoulder blades tucked down and back. With your inhale, lifting your head and heart, using the strength of your core and muscles around the spine, not so much the hands. And then exhale, lower back down. Inhale, lifting up, squeezing the shoulder blades behind you as you rise. And exhale, lower. One last time, inhale, rise to your baby cobra. Stay lifted here for your exhale. One more breath in. And exhale, child's pose, pressing your way up through tabletop and right on back to the child's pose of your choosing. Taking a few breaths and possibly sending your awareness and your breath to the mid back or the low back. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. Grab your blocks if you want them, and exhale to downward dog. 3 breaths here. Inhale, press into your hands, reach through your shoulders, and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last breath in, last breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward your hands. Exhale, step that right foot up first and then your left. If it's hard to do that step up, you might try to aim to the outside of your mat for that first step. Either way, we're meeting up in a fold at the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold with a deeper bend of your knees. Inhale, rise all the way up, upward salute. Hands join overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, samastitihi, equal standing pose. Possibly closing your eyes as you make that connection between your thumbs and your sternum. Seeing if you can feel for your heartbeat. Check in with your breath. It's just too easy to lose track of that. And remember your intention. We'll take a clearing breath with movement here. So as you inhale, reach your hands high overhead. We're gonna do a clearing sigh here as we kind of sweep the arms down and back. Then come back up. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, up at the top. Exhale through your mouth, sweep it down. 1 more time, inhale high. Exhale. Okay, stay forward folded there at the end. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to bring your hands down to block. Step just your left foot back and lower your left knee down. We're getting right into that hip opener here. So sinking the hips forward and down, but keeping muscle engagement here through both legs. So we're not like hanging in that stretch. Puff your chest up. And take any little adjustments you might need or want. And then heading to half splits, pulling the hips back, peeling the right toes up off of the floor, straightening the right knee just enough so you feel that 50 to 70% stretch through the right leg. You're welcome to hold either of these in a static or still way, or flow with it, possibly inhaling as you come forward, puffing the chest up. Maybe exhaling as you go back to your half splits. Next time your right foot is planted, we'll meet up there. Lifting the arms high overhead. Check in with that neutral pelvis situation going on here. Finding, like, again, for me, it's like I have to tuck under a little bit extra to feel neutral. So check in with you, reaching your hands high. With an exhale, open arm twist toward the right. Left arm reaching forward, right arm reaching back. Inhale, unwind, reach high. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. Inhale, unwind. And exhale, bringing your hands down to the blocks and then stepping your right knee back to meet your left. Take a breath in and then exhale as slow as you want, lowering your chest down to the floor. Getting in place for 3 more rounds of breathing or baby cobra. our baby cobra flow. So tops of the feet press down a lot. Feel your glutes activate here. With your inhale, lifting your head and heart, maybe hovering your hands up off of the floor if you want. And exhale, lower back down. Inhale, rise up, baby cobra, 70% or a little less. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise up, baby cobra. And exhale, lower. Let's find Sphinx pose next. So we're going to come up like we were in our baby cobra. But then see if you can set your forearms down. Depending on a lot of factors here, our anatomy, injuries, stuff like that, it might not be a great idea to keep your elbows close to you. If that feels too tight or crunchy, see if walking your hands forward a little bit more can help. We want to kind of squeeze the glutes and kind of tuck the tailbone under so our core feels engaged here and we're protecting the low back. And pull your chest on through slightly. Ooh, doing a little twist here, just a little rocking side to side feels absolutely great on my abdominals right now. So feel free to add on or explore. One more breath here. And then exhale, lower down to crocodile pose, stacking your hands, fists, or forearms beneath your forehead, and then resting your head on top. Let your legs, let your glutes relax. Maybe your heels splay out to the sides. You could rock the pelvis a little bit side to side if that feels nice to you. I feel like it just kind of loosens up the low back. Try to get as soft and relaxed as you can here, as quick as possible. One more breath. And slowly lifting your head and planting your hands next to your chest. Press your way up through tabletop and back to child's pose. This will be our last child's pose. So find the variation you like, maybe knees together or knees out wide. Could take a different arm variation or just go with what you know you like. 2 more breaths in your child's pose. And start to make your way back up to tabletop, grabbing blocks if you'd like, and a big exhale to downward dog. Last downward dog of our practice. Really reaching through your shoulders. Take a big breath in and out. Active fingertips here, breathing in and out, gazing up toward the thighs or knees. One last breath in and out. Inhale, bend your knees a lot. Look forward toward your hands. Exhale, step that left foot forward first, and then your right, just to the best of your ability. No big deal. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold, bending your knees just a little deeper. Inhale, rise all the way up, joining hands overhead. And exhale, bring your hands back to heart center, taking a few moments to notice how things are. Catch your breath, catch your mind. Cultivating this sacred space, sacred moments of just being. In today's world, stopping or being still, even for a few moments, can be really hard for a lot of people. So consider this a practice in focus, a practice in being, in breathing. Help with focus. And when you're ready, let's take 3 clearing breaths like we did before, inhaling with the hands reaching high, and exhale as you just whoosh, let it go. Inhale, reaching high. Go ahead and do this at your own pace. And then meeting in a standing position. We'll do a little bit of balancing here next. So let's kind of rock some weight forward and back over your feet, almost like you're making a little impression in the ground that you'll hold steady while you're balancing. And then shift all the weight over to the right foot. Start to find one-legged or a tree pose rather, opening that left knee, left hip out toward the left side, maybe resting your heel on your ankle. Find an unmoving focal point to focus, not just focus on the point, but almost like you're focusing through it, like you're looking through it. And if you're feeling steady and you want more challenge, maybe slide your foot up to your calf or give it a little hoist up to the inner thigh. If you're someone who likes to do a little more strengthening, you could create some space between your foot and your leg and hold there. Whew. We'll have a couple more breaths here, adding on any arm movements or arm variations, anything playful or curious that you might feel like tacking on. Eventually using an inhale to prepare and an exhale to lower everything back down. Shaking out that right leg or foot. And then centering your weight over the left heel or the left foot this time, finding that kickstand position, right knee opening out wide. Maybe choosing that same drishti or choosing a different focal point this time. If you're feeling steady and you want more challenge, taking any variation, possibly sliding your foot up to your calf. And try to have kind of equal pressure. That right foot's pressing into your leg is pressing in to your foot, creating like a solid glue-like bond for now. But not too much effort, just enough. We'll have a few more breaths here. Feel free to add on arm movements or variations. Eventually using an inhale to prepare and an exhale to release it all back down. Give it a little shake. If there's anything else you want to do while we're standing, go ahead and do that. And then we'll head on down to the floor next. And making your way there, we're going to head right down to our backs, pulling the knees in as you arrive or after you arrive, and once again taking some free movement, circling weight, pressuring, circling, circling your legs with that nice massaging pressure, moving through the low back and sacrum. If you'd like to join me in some active twists, again, we'll do that before closing up here. So we'll keep our knees lifted, arms come out wide. We'll always take an inhale here at the center with the knees lifted. With an exhale, twist your knees, dipping them over toward the right, just a bit. We're not going to stay there. With your inhale, come back up to center using the strength of your abdominals. Exhale, dipping, twisting toward the left. Inhale back to center. Go ahead and do that a couple more times, exhaling as you twist. If you want to get fancy, maybe you turn your head in the opposite direction that your knees are twisting. And from here, finishing up any last movements, poses, stretches, wiggles, and beyond that you want. And then heading into your final rest position. Could be Shavasana or a similar way that we started. Maybe putting your legs up the wall or bending your knees and resting your calves up on a chair can be so nice. Take your time, finishing up the physical portion before settling in. I always need my pillow under my head. And it just feels nice to like tuck yourself in a little bit. So if you do have a pillow, just kind of like fluffing it up around your head, making sure your neck is nice and supported. And even keep your hands kind of up there behind your head for support, or let them do their thing, finding a nice restful way to be. Checking in with the shoulder blades at some point, maybe kind of picking your chest up and tucking your shoulder blades in before setting everything back down. Practicing this way of being supported by the floor. How does it feel to kind of surrender to this support? If at any time you feel a little anxious or anything, a nice way to soothe the nervous system, there's a lot of ways, but one that I especially like is just kind of peeking your eyes open and like looking around, all around your space. It just reminds the body or shows the body some proof that there's no immediate threats. This is how it is now. Softening the upper body, the shoulders, your arms, your hands. Finding that proper oral posture again with your lips sealed and teeth slightly parted, with your tongue resting up on the roof of your mouth. Widening your nostrils. And if it feels interesting to you, maybe continuing this meditation with the mindset of like the universe is breathing you, like you're watching as your body breathes without you needing to be so in control of it, becoming the witness. Let your body find a natural pace that feels nourishing or therapeutic even. Letting your body take this time in stillness just gives everything that we've been practicing today a chance to be integrated. Please know that you are welcome to stay right here and continue your rest as long as you want or need. Eventually, when you're feeling ready, let's gently reawaken the body with some small movements, maybe wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe heading into a long body stretch at some point. Eventually choosing a side and rolling to the fetal position. Either side will do. Fully rest here on your side, acknowledging this pause, this transition. And at the very bottom of one of your upcoming exhales, start to press your way on up to a seat. Let's join hands once more at heart center, closing the eyes or just gazing toward the floor. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and be free, and may our own thoughts, words, and actions contribute to the happiness and freedom for all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Together, let's bring thumbs up to third eye center. And to seal our class with a little bow of gratitude to all of the teachers who have come before us, enabling us to practice this ancient yogic practice from India. Let's take a bow forward together now. Peace.